What's good? What's happening, everybody? It's your boy Ferris Muthana. Welcome to another great edition of Good Friends, Better Rivals. I am with my main man. He's back. He's back. He went on travels. He went through, and now he's back. It is my main man, Caleb. Caleb, how are you, bro?
I'm doing good. Just settling in. Excited about what we did in the draft. Well, sort of excited. A little mixed emotions feeling about what happened this past weekend. But ready to talk about it. Ready to be back. Good to be back, man.
Yeah, man. Last week we did a more, so New York Giants showed up. Shout out to but now we're gonna get back more to the show. We're gonna talk New York Giants. We're gonna talk. It's my internet.
Yes,
It's my
yours.
internet, bro. Yeah,
Okay, good. Because I'm closer to everything, so it shouldn't be on my end.
Yeah, no, it's me. It's me. I'm not closer to it anymore. I'm actually above it. It's like right directly toward me. Can you hear me? We're good. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna get the Dallas Cow. I have all the picks for both teams here. I have the New York Giants picks. I have our picks. Let's get right into it, man. It's the NFL draft happened. It was you know what it is? It's a 3-day extravaganza. It's kind of one of the biggest dates on the NFL football calendar. And the Dallas Cowboys, they had a pick, then they traded their pick. They went down, got some more picks, and then I believe drafted one of my favorite linemen in the draft. And they drafted some people have only said Tyler Guyton he's a project. He's a project. And he could play guard and tackle. And the only reason they like this pick is that they knew the Dallas Cowboys, they do well with offensive line projects. And that's why people were big fans of this pick. Caleb, like you said, you guys were going to go offensive lineman in the first round during our mock draft. You wanted a center in Jackson Powers Johnson. That's who you drafted. But you guys got a tackle in Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma.
I did not draft him. I actually drafted Mims in our mock draft.
Yes, you did. You drafted Mims. Yes, you did. No, I said you wanted to draft Jackson Powers Johnson. Yeah. Then you drafted Amarius Mims, who went earlier in the picks. No, later to Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think he went earlier. I think that was earlier.
Did they trade up?
No.
Oh no, they didn't make the playoffs. Yes, he went earlier to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's just they're beefing up the line. Joe Burrow has had back-to-back seasons end with injury.
I mean, I was in the right general area.
Yes, you were.
Yeah,
but the Cowboys traded back. I think they traded back to 29.
Yeah, I traded back too in our mock draft. I knew exactly. I mean, it was basically before the draft even started. I mean, Jerry Jones pretty much.
You knew what was going to happen.
Yeah,
you knew
man. He even said like there was like an 85% chance that they were going to trade back. I mean, they were pretty dead set on that they were going to trade back. They were not going to stay. I mean, unless there was some guy that was going to drop to them that they really liked. They were. It was always going to be the plan to trade back, and I pretty much knew that. And the pretty much plan was they were going to take an offensive lineman. So that went all according to plan. And like you said, he's a huge guy. I think he's a giant man. But so he's got a lot of size, so that's good. But yeah, like you said, there's a little stuff he has to work on. But I mean, how can you doubt the Dallas Cowboys on drafting offensive line in the first round? They've hit on Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, Tyler Smith. I mean, they just never miss when it comes to offensive linemen in the first round. They just don't. So
yeah, well, here's some pre-draft analysis for Tyler Guyton off of ESPN. Shout out to Steve Munchin. Guyton started only 14 games at tackle in college, so he's raw as a prospect. Everyone knows that. Former tight end, has size, quickness, length, foot speed to develop to a starter early, can mirror and recover push speed rushers past the quarterback, holds his ground even though he sets up high in pass pro. So he's a little high in pass pro. So he needs to bring it down. Guyton can also get into position and cover up defenders in the run game. Matt Miller's pro comp, former tight end and quarterback, former Oklahoma tackle, and resident villain of the show, Lane Johnson. You know, Lane Johnson is the comp for Tyler Guyton. After you guys drafted him, Matt Miller then says he's a plug-and-play right tackle who has the ability to eventually make the move to the left side if Dallas wants to keep 2022 first-round pick Tyler Smith at left guard. His agility, length, and positional upside makes him fantastic fit for Dallas, where a day one start on the offensive line has a very real need. Overall value, perfect range. Cowboys address the most pressing need, land the best available tackle at the end of the first round, making this a strong pick in Munchin's eyes. Then Todd Archer has more analysis. And there it is, man. It was a great pick. They picked the need. And you know what? In the greatness of glory, it is Jerry Jones.
I want me some glory hole.
And you got your glory hole, Jerry. You got it. Good for you, my man. Good for you. You got yourself a tackle.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just looking at what they were dead set on not moving Tyler Smith. I think that's why they made the pick at tackle instead of center, because they just weren't going to move Tyler Smith out the tackle. They just want to keep him there at left guard. And that's why they went for the replacement of Tyron Smith. And, I'm not going to hold him to the standard. Oh, he's going to come in here and play as good as Tyron Smith.
14 games at tackle. So
all those years.
It's 14 games at tackle in college. It's not a big sample. It's one season.
Yeah.
It's one season basically.
Yeah.
And he's raw. So he's gonna he may get abused his first year in Dallas. Or he may not.
I'm not holding them to a Tyron Smith standard. I'm more holding them to a Tyler Smith standard. Tyler Smith, they said the same things about Tyler Smith. Oh, he holds too much. He has this and that to work on. He's not ready to,
he's raw. He's a mauler.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly the same thing they said about Tyler Smith. Then what did he do? He came in. He was a solid starter. He's been the solid starter for his first 2 years of his career. So I'm going to hold him to that standard. As long as he come in here and play really solid, as good as Tyler Smith did, then it's going to work out. And I believe that they'll coach him up real quick, and he'll be off and rolling. So I don't really, that pick first round, I don't have any problem with it. I knew that was pretty much going to happen. So yeah, I mean, I was good with what they did in the first round.
That's bingo on the money, Caleb. Now let's bounce off to the other team in blue. The New York Giants first round pick. I talked about it last week. My main man Monty. It is Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors, the number, and in some eyes, the number 2 receiver in the draft, and in some people said he's the number 1 receiver in this year's draft. So it depends on who you talk to in the draft circles. The report was that the New York Giants were trying to trade into the top 3 for a quarterback, and they made an offer to the Patriots.
Yeah,
and they said no. And then apparently the Vikings also made an offer to the Patriots, which was, in my eyes, a better offer than the New York Giants offer.
So the Giants had tried harder then.
Yeah, the Giants they gave an offer, but they weren't aggressive with their offer. The Vikings were very aggressive with their offer. They're like, you want 3 first? I think there was like 3 first round picks or 2 first round picks and like 2 seconds or something like that. But the Patriots said no to both of them. Proves to me the Patriots were never going to trade that pick because they wanted a quarterback. They just came back from the Mac Jones debacle and they want to reset. So they reset. So did the Giants not do an aggressive push because they knew the Patriots were never going to say yes in the first place? Or were they going to?
I also see there, like, you're not going to trade a whole hell of a lot for the 3rd quarterback. Maybe you do that for the first 2.
Yes.
But you're going to get the 3rd best quarterback there. Like you said, they do make an offer. They do make an effort to try to trade up so they can get their guy. But
they made it.
You're just not going to bet the farm on the 3rd best quarterback in the draft.
Yeah, it wasn't an aggressive offer like some people. They made an offer. They did their due diligence. It was exactly, it's the 3rd pick, not the 2nd or the 1st. So the farm wasn't going to be up for debate. So what part of the farm you want to give? You want to give like a 1/4 of an acre, 3 acres, the whole farm. It depends on which one you want to get. You know what I mean? It's Drake May. Drake May is what I like to call, from now on, every year, there's always a QB that's the Josh Allen QB of the draft, which I call as the traits QB. He has all the tools. He's big. He's fast. He has an arm. And you give him to a good coach, he can be Josh Allen to be developed. Who developed Josh Allen? Brian Daboll. Brian Daboll quickly realized that they were out on Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams. They were going 1-2. So they looked at Drake May. Drake May is the Josh Allen prospect. 6'5", as a howitzer. You know what I mean? Has all the athletic tools necessary. But there's still some things you need to do. Exactly. Who was the best QB in the draft depends on who the team wanted. That is true, Ryan, right? That is true. Some people like Drake May above Jaden Daniels. You know, it varied on who you talk to. You know, everyone agreed on 1, and everyone agreed on 4 and 5. But no one agreed on 2 and 3. You know, 2 is Drake, 2 is Daniels, 3 is Drake, 3 is Daniels, 4 was JJ McCarthy, and 5 was Bo Nix. And no. 4 was Michael Penix. Michael Penix. See, like
even all that was up in the air. Just a matter of preference of who was better than who.
Exactly, because 4 and 5 were argued as well. Is it Penix or JJ? Penix or JJ? 6 was Bo. Everyone agreed 6 was Bo. Shout out to Bo. Bo had nobody debate him for 6. He's like, "You're 6," and Bo's like, "Thank you. I'll stick with 6." But yeah, 2 and 3, 4 and 5 were always being argued about who. You know, depends. And some people like Penix at 3. And you know what I mean? It depends. The Giants got none of them. 6 quarterbacks in the first 12 picks. They said no to all of them. They didn't want Michael Penix. They didn't want JJ. They didn't want Bo. They didn't want, they couldn't get Daniels or Caleb or Drake. They said no to all of them. And they went with the best.
Should they have got Penix?
I think his injury history scared a lot of people. I generally think his injury, like you may not care about his injury history as a fan and be like, just pick the player and, and keep moving. But there are teams who made Spencer Rattler fall in the draft because they didn't like what he did in high school. Mm-hmm. The Spencer Rattler, big story coming out of the draft. Spencer Rattler was a lot of teams held it against him when he was on the QB1 reality TV show. Yeah, in high school, he was one of the 3 quarterbacks. It was him and Sam Hartman were on that season. And they were like, they're like, yo, I don't want this kid on my team, But so they held it against him.
Do you overlook his health and his health status because your quarterback is Daniel Jones? I mean, should you just say, well, screw it? I mean, we got to get someone better, potentially better than Daniel Jones.
All I'll say is this, man. All I'll say is this. Joe Shane drafted the way of a GM knowing he's not going to get fired. Because he didn't go get his quarterback. He didn't. Okay? And he didn't draft any offensive lineman to protect the quarterback he has. Like, in this draft, everyone knew what the premier positions in this draft were. It was offensive line and defensive line. 6 or 8 offensive linemen were drafted in the first round. Caleb, in the first round, you got none of them. And there was a bunch of offensive linemen going in the second and third rounds that people were like, these are also good players. Christian Mahogany out of Boston College, Christian Haynes out of UConn. The 2 guards. Last time the New York Giants drafted a guard out of Boston College, his name is Chris Snead, and he stayed with them for like 15 years. Boston College has been very good to the New York Giants. It's been very, very good. We got Mark Herzlich out of Boston College, one of our starting linebackers on the 2011 championship team. So you drafted no offensive linemen. You focused on. You focused on tight end, safety, corner, and running back, right? So you drafted Malik Neighbors, the best receiver or the second best receiver in some people's eyes.
So I guess they agree with me saying that your receiving core sucks.
But do they suck because Daniel Jones sucks?
You didn't. Well, they definitely didn't fix the problem.
Because Jalen Hyatt was open very often last year. And Daniel Jones was very scared to throw him the ball. So back to, last year they drafted the Biletnikoff winner. This year they drafted should have been the Biletnikoff winner. They just gave it to Marvin Harrison Jr. because he's Marvin Harrison Jr. and they needed to give him an award. But it was Malik Neighbors who should have won it this year. So back-to-back years, they drafted, in some people's eyes, the best receiver in college last year. And in the pre-draft, Neighbors is LSU's all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards. A college that has produced some very good wide receivers. And he leads them in receptions and receiving yards in history. An explosive route runner who's a nightmare matchup out of the slot. There it is right there, the slot. Right there. Wan'Dale Robinson. And negates him. So what happens? He's an instinctual open field runner who reaches top speed in a flash and can break tackles. He has wheels to take the top off the coverage and tracks the deep ball well. Matt Miller.
Well, there ain't gonna be no deep ball when you can't protect Daniel Jones. The drops the lane sucks.
Hey, you know what, man? Here's the thing about Daniel Jones. People talk about Daniel Jones this, Daniel Jones that.
He's not good. That's why.
I know, but like, I don't think he's guaranteed to start next year.
Well, who's gonna start?
Drew Lock doesn't come here to be a backup.
Oh my God, you're gonna.
No. It can't come. I'm not saying Drew Lock's great. I'm just saying like Drew Lock doesn't leave Seattle unless someone says you have a chance to win the job. You don't just go to another team.
How is that any better?
We don't know if it's any better. That's the thing. But Drew Lock may start this year.
Better. It's not better. It's just more crap.
Well, you know what? You're going to lose your quarterback in like a year and a half, so calm it down. You're going to be in my position, so chill. Okay? All right? Maybe. Yeah, no, not maybe. It's literally been confirmed. He's not staying. So they went best player available. They went BOP. BPA. That's what they went. They went BPA. They went best player available, and they're like, cool. Last time New York Giants drafted
we're gonna have a future.
Last time the New York Giants drafted a receiver out of LSU, he electrified the city.
Yeah, so you guys made the playoffs how many times?
Once.
Yeah. That's what.
So positional ranking, he was second. Overall, he was third. He was the third best prospect in the entire draft. And compared to Jalen Guyton, who's the seventh best tackle and the 33rd best player in the draft. So there's that. Then let's keep moving, man. We're going to go move to the second round.
I just want you to recognize that you guys are going to make playoffs like one time in the next 10 years.
And, if we win a Super Bowl in that one time, I'm cool with it. Unlike you, who make the playoffs every year and always get beat down in the first round. Who do you want? Do you want my pain and suffering sandwiched with 2 Super Bowl runs, Caleb, or your constant we can win this year only to get blown up by the Packers with a team full of rookies?
No, I want the Super Bowl.
Yeah. You want? Yeah, shut up. All right. So second round, going into the second round, both teams went defense in the second round. Both teams went offense in the first. Both teams went defense in the second. The Dallas Cowboys drafted Marshawn Nealon out of Western Michigan. Mm-hmm. He is the 6th best edge rusher in the draft overall. Here it is, pre-draft analysis by Steve Munchin. Nealon has long arms to take on blockers and explosive strength to get the edge. Teams run at him. He has a flashy ability to slip blocks, chase with good effort, runs well for his size, and wraps up. Nealon is a powerful pass rusher who shoots his hands, drives blockers, and is more of a threat to get the QB than stats would suggest. And he has a good upside. He tests well at the combine, moves well laterally, and flashes effectively inside them. Pro comp from Matt Miller, Tuli Tuipulotu. Tuli Tuipulotu. The edge from San Diego or the Chargers, the USC guy they drafted last year. That's your guys. Damn, I need to talk to my homie Dr. Calva to say their name. But post draft, you guys didn't need edge. I don't know why you guys.
This is where the mixed emotions come in because, doesn't make any sense. I mean,
Maybe
it's a
DeMarcus
need.
Lawrence.
It's a need because we did lose Dorrance Armstrong. We lost Dante Fowler, so we need depth at the pass rusher.
And DeMarcus Lawrence is 33 though. So
yeah, that's the thing. But he's not much of a pass rusher. He's a more run stopper. He's basically another DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus not like heavy on the sacks lately. He's more the chain guy. He's a rush stopper. Kind of do everything. And he's kind of a clone of DeMarcus Lawrence. He's kind of the same pick. We got DeMarcus Lawrence in the second round. He looks like the exact same thing. It looks like we're just trying to replace DeMarcus Lawrence again. So I get it, but we have way more pressing needs than replacing DeMarcus Lawrence at this time. We need a running back. We have no running game. That was our two biggest problems. Is we couldn't run the ball and we couldn't stop the run, and you chose to ignore both. So that's where it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't care if it's best player available. You need a decent tackle right there to stop the run. We need a big, nasty guy in the middle to stop the run, and you just did not do that. Okay, we need someone to carry the ball so we can get a run game going. You just got an offensive lineman. Okay, so now let's fix the run game totally, and let's get a running back in there. And you chose to ignore that too. So our two biggest problems, you just totally said, "Oh, who cares? We're going to get the best guy available." Well, we can't do that because you didn't do anything in free agency. We could have done that if you did something in free agency and signed a guy, and maybe we have more room to play with, and you can take a guy like Marshawn Nealon. But you didn't do that, so you kind of put yourself in a hole where you have to take a need, a more pressing need than replacing DeMarcus Lawrence, and that's where this is. I don't like this pick. It's not anything on the player because I could he be the next DeMarcus Lawrence? That's great. It's still not going to help us winning more games in the playoffs.
Stop it. Well, if you said he helps with the run, stopping the run is
yes,
key.
But again,
but you needed DTs.
He's going to do what DeMarcus Lawrence is already doing, and we couldn't stop the run still.
Mm-hmm. But you have to.
The problem is we can't stop it in the middle.
Yes, you needed a defensive tackle, not an edge.
Yeah, the whole middle is just weak as hell.
Yes, Mozzie Smith hasn't really panned out.
No,
in a sense. So that's true. It's true. I don't really got much to say. I'm with you, Caleb. You guys basically drafted a clone. Basically, in a couple of years, probably going to shove Marcus Lawrence out of here, and you're going to replace him with Marshawn. But then you are back to square one. You can't stop the run. Unlike the New York Giants, who let Xavier McKinney walk and then drafted his replacement in the second round, Tyler Nubin, who was the second best safety in the draft. Some people say the first best safety in the draft, depending on who you talk to. So the New York Giants drafted the best player at their position in back-to-back picks. In any other year, these are two A+ picks. Back-to-back picks, in a sense, you're like that. But this year, the New York Giants fans were always focused on QB. They kind of don't really care about anything else. And they're also like, you could have resigned Xavier McKinney, but Joe Shane's like, I don't want to resign Xavier McKinney because Xavier McKinney is not one of my guys. That's the thing. Joe Shane is getting rid of the guys who are not his guys that are not undeniable in a sense. Like Dexter Lawrence was undeniable. You had to keep him. Andrew Thomas, undeniable. You had to keep him. Not his guys, David Gettleman's guys. But everyone else, every David Gettleman pick is slowly being weeded out very slowly. Saquon Barkley, he's gone. Xavier McKinney, he's gone. Guess what happens? They draft Tyler Nubin. So there's that. Nubin is basically the replacement. He's going to play that role. He's going to be fighting Jalen Mills, but the thing is, you bring in people like Jalen Mills to see is my rookie better than Jalen Mills, at least better than Jalen Mills. Jalen Mills is a 30-year-old free agent safety. He's moved around many years. So that's the barometer. Can he beat Jalen Mills in his first year in training camp? That's the problem in Arizona. They drafted Xavier Collins and he couldn't beat out Jordan Hicks. So they had to tell Jordan Hicks, you're not starting, even though you're better than our rookie, because it's going to make us look stupid, which made them look stupid, and it got them fired. The comp to Tyler Nubin, Justin Simmons. Adelia knows all about Justin Simmons, one of the best safeties in the game. The problem is he plays safety, and the Broncos cut him because he plays safety. That's the problem. So if Tyler Nubin becomes Justin Simmons, this is a home run.
Mm-hmm.
This is a home run. That's a home run, man.
Like you said earlier, there was plenty of good offensive linemen still available. Should you not have taken one of them?
No, the thing is, I wanted them to take an offensive lineman in the 3rd round. There was still Christian Mahogany and Christian Haynes out of UConn. But when we talk about the 3rd round, as we keep going, something you guys did in the 3rd round that I really loved, you guys drafted Cooper Beebe, guard out of Kansas State, the 2nd best guard in the entire draft, one of the best guards in this entire draft, and Deuce Vaughn's running mate back in the day. Cooper Beebe, 4-year starter, plays with good body control, has a wide frame, mirrors well in pass block. Shout out to Steve Munch. He's big, strong, enough to anchor too. Beebe's quick to recognize lines and stunts and blitzes. He gets good initial pop, flashes the ability to move defenders in the run game, and gets good push and tracks linebackers in combo blocking in the 2nd level. He washes defenders. He washes defenders down the line and has range to reach 2nd level assignments. Steve Avila, former TCU guard, who's now, I think, in the Chargers, or was it the Rams? I think it's the Rams. Rams rebuilt their offensive line like that, and Steve Avila being one of them. Let me double check who Steve Avila is.
Yeah,
he's the Rams.
This is the pick I was really excited about. This going up on a high for us. Thought this was a fantastic pick. I watched this guy when with Texas played Kansas State. It was the only time Devontae Sweat in freaking what's his name
Byron Murphy.
That's when they had trouble. I mean, the chance they was running on us a little bit on that game.
Because of
so definitely gave them the first time I saw them have some problems there. So definitely was really excited when we got Cooper Beebe in the 3rd round. Again, he's probably going to play center to replace Tyler Biadasz, who was also taken in the 3rd round. And like I said, Cowboys.
Why would you make a guard play? See, that's the problem, right?
Because we need a center.
No, exactly. Then you should have drafted Jackson Powers Johnson.
Well, we didn't. So
no, that's my problem.
Well, I mean, they said he has position flex, and a lot of the time these interior offensive linemen have that position.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that. That's bullshit. Like I'm with Duke Manyweather. He says don't draft a guard to play center. Draft a guard to play guard. You know what I mean? Like you're drafting a guard, he's a guard. Draft him at guard. Let him play guard. Don't force him to play center because he's not a center. He's never played center ever. Same thing when Duke Manyweather says don't draft the right tackle to play left tackle because they've only played tackle.
We have Tyler Smith and Zach Martin. He is not replacing either one of them. He's going to play center.
Then what the fuck? Then you should have drafted JPJ in the 2nd round instead of Marshawn Nealman.
Well, wasn't in charge of who we drafted. That's who we drafted. They thought he could play center. If they didn't think he was going to play center, they wouldn't have taken him. So, like I said, I trust them on the offensive line because they know exactly what they're doing at least when it comes to that. So if they think he can play center, then I'm going to trust him and say he can play center.
Okay. That's whatever. He was tremendous at guard for Kansas State. Kansas State, those pesky Kansas State people, man. They're always in there ruining. Well, they no longer gonna ruin Texas's life anymore because Texas ran away to the SEC because they're scared of the grind. You know what's funny about Texas leaving the Big 12? They've only won the Big 12 like once, which is funny to me. And people say they ran that conference even though they've only won it once.
How did we run to a harder conference? What the hell are you talking about?
I'm just saying, man. Like you only won
a more difficult conference for us to play in.
Since the existence of the Big 12, Caleb, Texas only won the Big 12 like what, twice?
Okay, so how are we running? We're running to
You guys got scared, man. You guys got like, we can't. Y'all were like, we can't face Kansas anymore. We're done. Kansas, no. Kansas keeps beating us. We gotta go.
No,
We
they
gotta
don't.
go.
We beat them all the time.
Not lately. All right.
Yeah, usually.
In the second round, in the third round, the New York Giants. Here's the thing about the third round pick for the New York Giants, right, Caleb? We needed this. We need a corner. We've been searching for cornerback 2 for years. You know, since Aaron Ross. You know what I mean? Since Prince Amukamara. Receiver cornerback 2 has always been a problem. We need one. We drafted Andrew Phillips or Andre. Is it Andrew? Because it's spelled with a U. I don't know. He was a standout at the 2024 Senior Bowl. We had a couple of New York Giants coaches there talking to him. Deonte Banks is going to be corner 1. He's going to Shane Bowen is going to be more zone, so he does fit the zone scheme, but apparently some people say his zone isn't really his strong suit, but he can do zone. So I think he's more of a man corner 2. So that's some flexibility. He's aggressive run defender. He's a powerful tackler, and he may not see. Here's the thing about cornerbacks: people be like, "Oh, he didn't have a lot of interceptions." Sometimes they don't throw at you. You know, like that's what makes Darrelle Revis so special. He has the interceptions, and they didn't throw at him. So, like, you know, it's kind of hard to use interception numbers as a gauge for a good corner. I wanted them to go guard. I wanted them offensive lineman. You don't draft a single offensive lineman. So it means 2 things. It means you're confident in this new coach you got in Carmen Berskoli, the Raiders offensive line coach. You are confident that he's going to resurrect Evan Neal and resurrect the guards, even though our guards were the problem. We needed the guards. We didn't need tackles. We needed guards. And Christian Mahogany and Christian Haynes were there. And you didn't draft a single guard. I didn't want you to draft the tackle. I wanted guards. The guards we had were Mike Glowinski and Justin Pugh. Justin Pugh's not a guard. He played tackle his entire career. You know what I mean? And I feel like they could have gone corner in like round, later on. But, I guess they go corner. It is what it is. It's whatever. I'm not mad at the pick. I'm mad at the position of the pick. We should have went offensive line.
Yeah.
We should have went.
I think that's a lot of when you watch the draft, you're not really, you can't really know what the guy's how good the guy is or how projecting now. You're not sitting there scouting the guy all the time. Basically, you're really just mad that they didn't take a certain position that you think is a bigger need than what they took a lot of the time at least.
All right, getting down to round number 3. Your third round pick, Caleb. Again, you guys drafted linebacker Maurice Leofau. Leofau. He's linebacker out of Notre Dame. I'm trying to see a comp. There's no comp for him. He has excellent by Steve Munch. He says excellent length, runs well, chases with good effort, has the ability to shoot his hands and keep blockers off his frame as he pursues. He has good stopping power. He gets to depth and shows good range, dropping to underneath coverage. Leofau is traced to match up with tight ends. His active hands, which shows that he is slipping blocks, rushing the passer. He had 3 sacks last year. You guys did sign Eric Kendricks to replace Leighton Vander Esch, but Kendricks is 32 years old, so he's not a long-term answer. Cowboys need to be better against the run, and Leofau has the frame and length to develop an effective run stopper. I like this pick for one reason, Caleb. One reason and one reason only. Your defensive coordinator loves himself some athletic linebackers that he can teach. Because in Minnesota, who did he draft? He drafted a former running back turned linebacker who had only been a linebacker for about like a year and a half, in Anthony Barr, and said, that's my guy. Then drafted his running mate, who was more of a linebacker, in Eric Kendricks, said, that's my guy. And he created the two of the best linebacker tandems in the entire NFL. People forget, man, that those Minnesota defenses with Mike Zimmer were a problem. The only problem with Mike Zimmer was he never had a quarterback. That was the issue. Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Dalvin Cook, Daniil Hunter, Everson Griffin, Kendricks, Barr, Xavier Rhodes before he fell off, Mike Hughes, Trey Wayans, Harrison Smith, you know what I mean? Andrew Zendejo. They had a team. The problem is Caleb, the one position they couldn't figure out, Caleb, was what?
They paid Kirk Cousins a bunch of money.
Before that, though, I'm talking about before that.
And before that, they had
Case Keenum, Teddy Bridgewater,
yeah.
And then Blair Walsh missed some field goals. So it still haunts them to this day. So an athletic linebacker in a Mike Zimmer defense, I think is a good pick. A good pick. What are your thoughts?
I don't. The only reason I don't. It's not. It's like I said. He's a good player. He's gonna be good replacement for Van Der Esch. Obviously, it's a big need that we have. It's just not the need that we really needed at that time in the third round. I mean, you get an extra third round pick because you trade back. Great. So if you want to go Nealon, okay, whatever. It's still a bad position. It's still more pressing needs than that. You still ignored the problem, which is we can't run the ball. We have no running back at this time, and there's plenty of good running backs still available, and you just don't take a running back at all. And that's the time you could, with that second, third round pick, knowing you don't have a fourth round pick, and that's the pick that you probably would have gone for because they've done that a lot in the past, taking fourth round running backs. But you know you don't have a fourth round pick, so that's where you got to take your running back, and they didn't do that, and they go with the linebacker instead. It's just not. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, what are we doing that we don't take a running back?
Yeah, because who are your running backs right now? Deuce Vaughn and who else?
Well, we're going to talk about it later.
All right.
We're done with this. The reunion.
The reunion. Yes, big news coming out. But now we get down into the New York Giants. They had a fourth round pick, and they drafted tight end Theo Johnson out of Penn State. Theo Johnson is literally because we have no idea what the hell Darren Waller wants. There's been reports that he has told people he's retiring. So, like, he's done. People have said that. He is done. But you don't know these NFL players. They're fickle. They may come back. But the New York Giants said, we're not waiting. So now they're going to add Theo Johnson into the tight end room. And like I said, it's going to be Daniel Bellinger's season, right? He's tight end one. I keep telling people all the time, like 2 years ago, when the team kind of changed, like what was the difference? It's because Daniel Bellinger got hurt. They poked him in the eye, and he couldn't see. And Daniel Bellinger was going to be the beneficiary of Darren Waller, and I thought that but the problem is they made Daniel Bellinger then play Chris Myrick's role. Chris Myrick, people don't remember, last year broke his wrist, I believe, and they put him on IR. Chris Myrick was the H-back. He was the fullback H-back. He was tight end 3 who played that position, and it allowed Daniel Bellinger and Tanner Hudson to play the 2 tight end sets, because Chris Myrick was the key. Now Chris Myrick's back, but now Daniel Bellinger is going to become tight end 1, and they need a tight end 2. And they have a multitude of blocking tight ends. So there's going to be a lot of fight for the third tight end spot with Chris Myrick. There's Jack Stoll, who's a blocking tight end, but Chris Myrick is an H-back. He can play fullback as well. That's why I think Myrick wins out. And Theo Johnson is basically going to be tight end 2 because he's the most athletic out of the group. He ran the second fastest 40 time for tight ends. He's a willing blocker. He makes plays down the seam, averaged 16.4 yards a catch in 2022. Big target, long arms, big hands to snatch the ball out. He has a frame to cover up defenders, box out, the famous box out. He's a competitive inline blocker, But the problem is he needs to improve the technique. Improve the technique. Shout out to Steve Munch for the analysis. So yeah, that's what this is. It was kind of like to make sure to protect the offensive line so they can run two tight end sets, but now they don't have to sacrifice Daniel Bellinger as an H-back. They can make him play tight end like he did at San Diego State, and like he did in the first year with Tanner Hudson because of Chris Myrick, because Myrick is coming back. We just need him to stay healthy, don't break his wrist again. So then they can protect the offensive line, and most importantly, they can protect Evan Neal and the guards. So there's that. Good pick, phenomenal pick. Everyone kept saying he's a New York Giants target, and we went out and we got him. So solid A+ pick in the 4th round for Theo Johnson. But now to the Dallas Cowboys. We're in the 5th round for the Dallas Cowboys. Also, the New York Giants also had a 5th round pick. The Dallas Cowboys go, I believe, corner. Yes, yeah. Corner. And Kalen Carson, 6 foot, 199 out of Wake Forest. He is scheme versatile with good instincts. Steve, is it Munich or Steve Munich or Munchik? All right, shout out to you, Steve. He can reroute receivers. He can run with them and press. He quickly reads, reacts in zones and off looks. He breaks on the ball and generally does a good job of limiting production after the catch. Falls off the occasional tackle, so he's not a very good tackler, but he's a tough run defender who fights off blocks and tends to wrap up. Corner, I don't think is a big need for you, but then the problem is Trayvon Diggs is injured, coming back from an ACL injury.
Come back healthy. That's obviously.
And it usually takes a year though, Caleb. You and me both know. Usually takes a year to be fully back to yourself. So this year may be kind of a year you write off Trayvon Diggs.
Yeah. At this point in the draft, you don't. At least I don't know too much about the players coming in the back end of the draft, but the Cowboys have a lot of hits and misses when it comes to corner. Obviously, have some huge hits. And Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland, who was also taken in the 5th round as well. So could this guy turn out to be another Deron Bland? Maybe. But we have some big misses. We got, the Morris Claibornes and the Kelvin Josephs. And that way we drafted more Nashawn Wrights and those type of players. So it's really a flip of a coin of whether we drafted a good corner or not. Hopefully he is. Hopefully he can provide some depth for us because we're pretty set on our starting 3. The next after that, then it kind of gets a little wonky there. Not really sure who will be our fourth guy if Trayvon Diggs can't. It isn't all the way back. We do need a guy to step right in there. So that's the hope for him. That's really all I say, just hoping at this point in the draft, the 5th, 6th, 7th round picks. Hopefully he turns into a starter, but hopefully does better and can really contribute special teams. Because obviously the special teams rules have
they've changed
this year. So
yes. More XFL.
So that's more if he can contribute there, that's more where if he can do that, then that'll be a good spot for him.
Yeah, a good pick. And then the New York Giants in the 5th round. I don't. You guys went corner. Probably kind of. You can go the new special teams rules, and kind of cover for Trayvon Diggs or Deron, because Deron Bland's going to become Trayvon Diggs this year because Trayvon Diggs is coming back from the ACL. Like most people say, not everyone is Adrian Peterson, where you tear your ACL and then you go out there and almost break the rushing record the following year. It usually takes a year to become fully yourself, to fully trust your knee. So it's going to be a minute for Trayvon Diggs to get back to Trayvon Diggs. But if he does the Adrian Peterson, then you guys are chilling, and this is kind of a luxury pick. But if he doesn't, this is kind of a necessary pick in a sense. Speaking of a necessary pick for the New York Giants, they drafted a tight end. They drafted a running back in the 5th round, but it's a very different type of running back because he's only been a running back for a year. They drafted Tyrone Tracy Jr., running back out of Purdue. He moved to running back in 2023. There was some promise. He was strong. He's quick. He can make defenders miss in the hole. His vision and his patience aren't there yet because he's not a running back. You know, he was a former wide receiver. Of course, he has some speed. He can separate from linebackers to produce after the catch. So his catching is definitely a plus because he can definitely, you know, because as a former receiver, you know, but the problem is, did you get moved to running back because you can't catch? That's the issue, you know, because you're just handing the ball off. He's returned to kickoff for a touchdown, so that could lend itself to be a positive with the new kickoff rules because we did sign Devin Singletary. So Devin Singletary will be our running back. He's made 6 solo tackles in the past 2 years, so there's some special teams flexibility there. Eric Gray has been a big disappointment. I don't know why we drafted him. He's just a big disappointment. And I personally would have drafted Deuce Vaughn because he provides a different type of scat back, quick feet for you. But we went Eric Gray, which is whatever. So I like this pick. A lot of people like this pick. People are big fans of him. He's a raw running back in the sense that he's only been running back for a year. So we'll see if he actually develops and gets better. So this is going to be all on our running backs coach. So he's the key, our running backs coach. But we moving, Caleb. We're moving. We're in the 6th round for the Dallas Cowboys. You guys went wide receiver Ryan Flournoy out of Southeast Missouri State. The notes on him are he's tough, has big hands, he makes plays over the middle, he's a strong open field runner. Averaged 15.4 yards a catch. Ran a 4.4 at the combine. So I don't know what this is. Is this cover for Michael Gallup?
Yeah, obviously it's a trying to replace Michael Gallup there, and what he could do. I mean, he made some really great catches, at least in the highlights, like really crazy catches, like Michael Gallup used to do. So it does seem like a good replacement for him. But then is he can run into the problem that Jalen Tolbert ran into? I mean, Jalen Tolbert was the guy, but he went to a really small school, and he comes out in his rookie year and he has no idea what the hell he got himself into, and he looks totally lost. That could happen to this guy. I mean, going to Southeast Missouri State, yeah, you're the guy there, but once you get in the NFL, I mean, what's the transition going to look like? You know, so that's my concern for this guy.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I really am. I'm trying to find out our where is our running backs coach? I'm trying to find that out. Oh, Joel Thomas. There he is. So Joel Thomas, that's pretty much his entire job is going to be with Tyrone Tracy Jr. So they better become best friends. Yeah, it's you kind of throwing another dart at a small school wide receiver. You know, try to get like a Pierre Garçon. You know what I mean? Pierre Garçon famously went to Mount Union, one of the most dominant Division 2 or 3, I think it's 2, most dominant Division 2 programs ever. Like ever. Them and Wisconsin Whitewater are the 2 names that you kind of focus on those. But yeah, it's kind of like we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, I guess. I don't know really much about nothing. That's more of a I gotta ask like a draft expert on Ryan Flournoy. I gotta ask them. But then we keep moving. The New York Giants sixth round pick was Darius Muasu. He played at Hawaii, then he transferred to UCLA. He led UCLA in tackles his past 2 seasons, 67 and last year. He led Hawaii in tackles each of the previous 2 seasons. All he does is lead his teams in tackles. He gets tackles. He can beat blockers at the point of attack, slip blocks with active hands. He also reads quarterbacks well and plucks the ball out of the air. He picked off 3 passes over the past 2 years. Muasu has short area quickness to compete underneath man coverage, and has a motor and toughness to contribute on special teams. I know nothing about this man. A lot of New York Giants fans know nothing about this man. Joe Shane was asked about this man in his press conference, and he smiled so big, it felt like you just asked Joe Shane about his child. He is in love with this dude, and I think he is a Joe Shane guy. High motor, aggressive, don't give up, tackle everything you see. Tackle everything you see. But then the problem is, here's the problem, Caleb. Are these plus tackles? Is what I like. I call them plus tackles. Or are these negative tackles? A negative tackle is I got 20 tackles in a game, and 15 of them were where the offensive player was 10 yards down the field. Chris Borland. Or are they a plus tackle, which means they are 2 yards or less near the line of scrimmage, either 2 yards in front of the line of scrimmage or 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage? That's a plus tackle. What type of tackler is he? Is he a negative tackler, or is he a plus tackler? That's the thing we must realize. That he led his college teams in tackles for 4 straight years, but how many of these tackles were plus tackles? I don't know. I gotta watch all his tackles, because I remember when Chris Borland had like 25 tackles in the game, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, Chris Borland had a great game," but 15 of those tackles were solos, and the player was like 10 yards down the field. That means nothing to me. Your tackle was meaningless. They already got a first down. You know? But Joe Shane loved him. He loved this guy. And we'll see if he can get that. So, because he's fighting Isaiah Simmons for linebacker 3. Because we got linebackers 1 and 2, very clear who they are. Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden. That's a fact. So who's linebacker 3? Darius and Isaiah Simmons will be fighting out for that. So we get down to the 7th round. The New York Giants are done. New York Giants didn't have to have a 7th round. Darius was our last pick, but the Cowboys had 2 7th-round picks, and they used them both. And they used them to draft linemen in both. And still, unfortunately, the lineman Caleb didn't want. Another offensive tackle, Nathan Thomas out of Louisiana.
He's more of a guard in the NFL.
Yeah.
Talking
what were your thoughts? It's round 7, Caleb. Do you really have any thoughts?
I like tripling down on offensive line there, like getting 3 offensive linemen there. I mean, never gonna have good, never enough good offensive linemen. So I like taking another dart throw at one of them, and then Justin Rogers to tackle on Auburn. Well, that's just a little too. I mean, it's too little, too late. I mean, you're taking what we needed in the 2nd round, and you're taking it in the 7th round. I mean, that's just that's ridiculous to me. But hey, if he can turn into something like Jay Ratliff was a 7th round pick. Obviously turn into a Pro Bowl caliber player. That's all we really can hope for.
Yeah, man. We have some more analysis from Todd Archer. His take was defensive tackles a need. You guys lost Jonathan Hankins, and Mozzie Smith didn't produce, and here's the thing about Mozzie Smith too. He didn't produce, and he got injured, so he's coming back from shoulder surgery. He didn't have a lot of tackles in his split years from Kentucky and Auburn. He had 94 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks.
Yeah, that position, I'm not even worried about the tackles. I'm just be in the way, just clog up the middle, and just get in the way of the holes and clog, just be a big mess in the middle. That's really what it want from one technique to the tackle. Not even the tackles wise. I don't even need that. I just need something to just crowd up that middle so we can help the linebackers out.
Yeah, man. Pretty much. That's pretty much the way it is. Guys, that's the New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys section of the show. Caleb, you watch any UFL this week?
Well, I mean, we got one more NFL topic.
Yes, one more NFL topic. You're correct. Thank you, Caleb. Guys, reunited, and it feels so good. Reunited, and it feels so good. We are family. I got my brothers and sisters with me. Am I right, Jimmy?
I will say one thing right now.
They brought him back. Ezekiel Elliott's coming back to the big day. Dallas Cowboys re-signed Ezekiel Elliott. A reunion people expected. And in the end, the Dallas Cowboys won in the end because they brought back a running back on a cheap deal that they're going to use and abuse like they used to do. Caleb, your thoughts? Zeke is coming back.
I mean, what do you say? After not doing anything in free agency, take no effort to sign any good running back because you signed Royce Freeman, which is a big nothing signing.
Come on, man. Stop hating on my boy Royce Freeman like that.
That's a big nothing signing. And then
you're a big nothing.
You do nothing in the draft at running back. And then you signed Ezekiel Elliott, which, obviously I love Zeke. I'm always going to love Zeke. I like that he's coming back, but it's just not enough. I mean, that's not a starting caliber running back in the NFL right now. He's just not. It's not a guy that we're going to rely on to take the entire load like he did, and his first stint with us. He's just not that guy anymore, so we still just don't have an actual running back, that all the other teams seem to have. All the other teams seem to at least have, a guy that they can say this is the guy.
Even the Giants have a guy.
I know, and we don't have a guy. We have a few guys. We got half a guy.
Yeah, just got some guys.
I mean, but we don't have the guy. Which is
Rico Dowdle, Royce Freeman, Deuce Vaughn, Hunter Lupick, Malik Davis, and Snoop Connor are all on the roster at the moment.
Yeah, that doesn't sound great. That sounds pretty crappy to me.
And a couple of special teamers and Royce Freeman.
Yeah, they don't have much experience. They don't have a lot of yards in the league, so it's looking really, really bad at running back, and that's not gonna help the running game, which was one of the biggest problems we had last year. We have not improved. We've gotten worse at that position, and we're going to be a worse team because of it. So it's just not looking good there.
He did lead the Patriots last year in rushing at 642 and receptions at 51. He didn't have a 100-yard rushing game, but he's not ready to concede. He's not starting.
We're horrible.
Exactly. He was their only saving grace.
But there's some positives, obviously. He's still the best pass blocking running back in the league to me. He can still do that. With the offensive line that we took and with him being back, I mean, Dak's going to be protected. So that's positive.
Speaking of Dak, shout out to Todd Archer. He says no one is more excited for Elliott's return than Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott, and I quote, says he's a real guy. Prescott said he's honest. When you see what you see is what you get. You can have fun, but when it's time to be serious and locked in, there's no one better than him. It's something every young guy should follow. The way he does about his business is going to be huge for this team.
Yeah,
could there's also be a leadership mentor role in coming back in a sense.
Yeah, and I think that'll help Dak play better. If he feels like he has his guy back there, and that makes him feel more secure when he's out there. That's a big positive for him. Just the fact that he feels secure because he has his running back with him. And yeah, so I still like that. I still think he can get grind it out, the tough yardage. I still think he can pound it up in there and get the touchdowns that like he did in the last season that he had with us. I still think he can do that. I still think he's good at the things that he was good at in that season. I don't think he just doesn't have the explosiveness. He doesn't have the speed anymore. And he just doesn't have he can't take as many carries as he once could. So that's the problem. Because we don't have anybody else that can do that either. So we're just kind of piecing it together and kind of putting it all on Dak. Basically, Dak has to go out there, throw it up 50 times.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, cherish your times with Dak, Caleb, because they're not long. They're not long. Because he may be gone. He may be gone after this year.
He'll be just fine. We'll sign up.
He will be just fine. He'll be just fine on another team. So you better cherish this.
You think the Giants?
No, not even the Giants. I think a bunch of teams are going to be like, "Oh, we just need a quarterback."
Go the Giants just to get back at us.
I feel like he would just to spite you. I feel like he would do it.
Yeah.
I feel like he would do it. You know what? Trade Dallas blue for New York Giants blue. It would be kind of crazy.
Yeah, that'd suck.
That would suck for you.
Yeah,
it would be hilarious for me. So get ready for this year, guys, because it's going to be a year of firsts. You know, Chicago could be finally have a quarterback for their franchise. Houston is quickly back on the rise. Is this Dak Prescott's last hooray in Dallas? Can the Eagles bounce back? Can the Chiefs continue dominating? And can the Niners finally get over the hump? We're going to see this year is going to be a great year. Can't wait for training camp. Can't wait. Caleb, you know when the NFL season starts. You know when it starts?
When's that?
When that Hard Knocks theme music hits. You know what it is. Bam. Let's get rock and rolling. You know what I mean? Caleb, UFL?
Yeah. It wasn't really much of a week because every single game was a blowout last week. So it wasn't not too much to talk about in any of those games, really, because the good teams stayed good and the bad teams stayed bad. That's pretty much
what's the key here, Caleb? It's quarterback play, right? The good teams
not
have
necessarily
better
because the Renegades have good quarterback play with Luis Perez. They just cannot get it together. They can't stop nobody. The defense is terrible. Because Luis Perez is like on one of the top 2 or 3 in passing yards. So he's getting it out there. Like they produce offense, maybe not points. They don't punch it in, but they open down the field pretty well. They can't finish. They can't finish games. It was a lot like the watching the Vipers last year. They produced pretty good, but they couldn't finish games. They couldn't win games. They didn't know how to win games, and that's basically exactly what I'm seeing with the Renegades. So not always that was the case. A lot of time for a lot of teams, yeah, it probably is the case. But yeah, the good teams are good. I mean, AJ McCarron's is back to being what he was the previous season, looking great.
Battle Hawks.
And the state Stallions. So it looks like they're headed towards the playoffs at this point because we're about halfway through the season. They look like the 2 best teams right now.
And that is your UFL football weekly roundup of my main man, Caleb. All right. Caleb, come down to the show. We've actually gone an hour. I think this is the first time we've gone over an hour in a couple of weeks, actually, man. So, boom, and it felt good. Caleb, where can people find you, my man?
You can find me at NFLCAP22 on Instagram and X. So just follow me there. I'll be on this show. Hopefully I won't miss another show.
Yeah. He's finally suited and booted in his new crib. Everything's chilling. Guys, my name is Ferris Malone. You can find me at Ferris Malone on Twitter and _Ferris_Muthana on Instagram. Because I am the one, the only one, the forever one. I am the last of the channel surfers. I'm here every Friday, 3 o'clock Pacific. Good friends, better rivals. And tonight, you're going to find me 8 o'clock Pacific on our entertainment channel, where I talk to my main man, Brodney. Not about, about sports, but mostly about life and his life and how he is who he is. We're at 919 subscribers on our entertainment channel. So keep pressing that subscribe button. And then over here, we are at, let me double check it before I mispronounce it. We're at 135 subscribers. Keep hitting that like button and that subscribe button because we're trying to get to 150. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace.